we want to make this Jersey specific, but there's a couple Jersey and industries. And some of you, I'm going to repeat one or two of the things I said yesterday for the benefit of those that weren't there. And Tim and I have talked about little Tim, and I
Tiny T.
You know, going back into history a little bit on the Jersey job and how we got to where we're at, a little bit about that. So we'll get into that. But before we really get into the Jersey part, by the way, this is a new ad just being worked on. And it's about the bottom's messed up; it needs to be edited. But that's Vance on the left and two Vernon's on the right. So you know, they're okay, I think. Anyway, what I want to I want to get into a couple of genetic things. And it's probably all right to reiterate this for those that you heard it yesterday. We continually make changes to the genetic calculations, the formulas, the weightings in the indexes. Net merit's been updated again because productive life got addressed and the weightings on why cows leave the herd got addressed. And this affects genomics dramatically, and this is part of the maturing process of genomics. And I want to say that ABS has been sort of waiting for genomics to mature some. And I'll give illustrations and talk about that a little bit. But before I get ahead of myself, these values here are the dramatic shifts in net merit formula. A lot more weight on fertility, a lot more weight on somatics.
Can I ask, Larry?
Yeah, go ahead.
Tell me to shut up the fast.
No, ask the questions because that's...
You picked the two most unreliable traits, aren't you?
Yes.
So, by putting more weight on them, you're really leaving open, because they're so unreliable, that you can have shifts in...
Yes, there's more room for shifts longer term until you get enough data to make them more reliable. And because of that, if you go back and look at particularly at some of these young bulls who didn't have any other additional information, their reliabilities went down.
Well, that's what your next slide showed yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. Their reliability, the reliabilities went down, they decreased. And that's part of the maturing process, if I could put it that way, of genomics as well, because it's more realistic by dropping. But yeah, to your point, these traits are less heritable because they're harder to measure because there's several more things that contribute to them. So the value of the estimate is worth less on a younger bull than it was before because they're lower heritability traits. The reason the changes were made is because why cows leave our herds is not because of udders and feet and legs, body conformation like it was 30 years ago or 20 years ago, because we continue to make progress in those traits. They're just as important as they ever were. Udders are just as important, and feet and legs are just as important. But the rationale is that's not what's broken. That's not what needs, that's not the principal reason we lose our cows. When a much lower percent we lose because of udders and feet and legs, and it happens later in life. Eventually something's going to. But mostly they're not pregnant or they got clinical for some reason. That's why we lose them. So the thought is to give that more focus. This is not determined by us to do that. I mean, it's USDA does it and supported by NAB somewhat. But That's a shift.
Is that happening in Australia? Do you know where there are?
I don't.
No, they've finally worked out that survival, they're going to change that around. It's going to be a lot more closer to what actually happens instead of a pardon the French bullshit prediction.
Well,
So
it's,
we're getting there.
your bullshit, like if you drew it on a whiteboard, okay, this is what we want to look at because this is what's important to us. What this is looking at the population, why did they leave, and then ranking it based on that. There's no, this is what I want, or this is what I like. There's any of that in this. This is, why are they leaving? That's what gets the weight.
Cold hard facts.
Cold hard facts, that's what it is. And cold hard facts are, it's not udders and feet and legs why they're leaving. Every dairyman, have you ever had a dairyman not tell you, what do you want? I want udders and feet and legs. And they've bred for it. So we're getting it. It's not what's broken. There's better. Now there's no that. Okay, that's cold hard facts. That's in all breeds. And the values decreased, and it hits genomic bulls harder than it hits daughter-proven bulls, because daughter-proven bulls have actual productive life data, etc. Genomic bulls don't have actual data yet. Okay, does that all make sense? So, in my mind, it's made these genomic values a better value, because it's harder on them and they're not as far. When genomics first started, every shottle son ever born was better than shot. That was beyond silly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was beyond silly. I don't think it worked out that way.
No.
Okay. All right. And genomically, in the U.S., there's 1,078 G-status active bulls in AI. We have 29. So it doesn't look like we want to play very bad. And the average bull is 2088. We have all our bulls are above. All our bulls are above 2088. In fact, we have 286 above that. We have bulls, but we don't have them in play. Deliberately. In part deliberately, in part out of logistics. Logistics being, we haven't been able to take old bulls out of bullpen, out of collection stalls. We still have to have their semen. So we need new collection stalls, and we're building new barns to collect these bulls and make them available. But also, we've been waiting for genomics. It's about the data points. It's about getting, so this is truth. Yeah, we're very low.
So there's some of these other companies, like you go back to the side, like you've got the Genix and those,
Yeah.
have they given up progeny tests and just going straight genomics? Or some of these companies, like, is Ultra and them just going, no progeny test program, we're just going to get the bull, put it in the program, that's how we're going?
That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They just, when they graduate a bull, that's when he got his genomic value and he deemed him high enough to be on their sheet, and away they go.
And when the daughter's having the milk, and he gets a proof, that's well and good. If he stays
If
the
he's
same
still
way.
around,
Yeah.
he may stay on their team, if he's still around. But if he's shifted far enough down along the way, he's gone. He won't be there by the time 3 years later, when he actually gets approved. A few of them will still be around, and they'll make noise about those, and there'll be fine bulls, sure enough. But that's the lifespan of a bull. You know.
Because a lot of the other companies are reducing the amount of bulls they're buying.
Yes.
We're keeping it the same because at the end of the day we've got 14, 16 million units of semen we need to produce. 12-month-old bull ain't going to do it.
No. No.
So what it really comes down to, the days of the million dose bulls are nearly obsolete. It's not going to really happen. Like to have a bull give 1 million doses, you know, and sell 1 million doses of a bull could come, you know, like it's hard enough to get there in the old days. It's going to be virtually impossible because of the way the bull's spanning the life, unless it's an absolute freak.
And I agree with what you're saying initially, but I'm changing my mind, and I'll try to illustrate that. And I'm going to be in jerseys in a minute. Full stop. I'm going to illustrate that. I thought there's no way there'd be a million unit bull. Now I'm starting to change my mind. I'll explain that. We're going to have more of these bulls. And I want to do one more transparency. The top 50 genomic bulls, December run, Select had 30, we had 7. They had kicked their tail. They broke the piggy bank and took 2 bags of money to buy a bull instead of 1. And they got them bought. So, but we've reacted. Here's the top 21 bulls born, first half of 2012, we have 38% of them. We're back in the game. So while there's a blip in the system, just to be transparent,
But we haven't done that by paying big dollars.
we had to add more dollars, but we've done other shifts. You know, it's a complicated. Here's the top 400 Holstein females. There's 8 owners, a half of them, including 2.5 bull studs. Select, Gen X, Butler View is an investment. You know, or you take the top 1,600 females, half of them are owned by 20 owners. So it's a small playing field. But we developed strategic arrangements with some of these dairies. And there's some of these dairies we're testing 20 females a month for. For example. We test more females than males now. So, searching. Another way we test, we go into large dairies and we look for females that calve every 11 months, 5 times in a row or something like that, and never had a high somatic. And then test her and test any daughters or granddaughters she has, and we're looking to find new cows. The dairymen don't know they have. They're just, but they use good bulls. That's happening in both breeds. So that's enough on that part of it. To try to,
Larry, could I just ask, with the genomic proofs,
yes,
did you say there is no genomic test for calving eggs?
it's not
What is the calving eggs data
it's
with?
pedigree like we always had.
So actually, sorry.
So why on the genomic proofs that Russ gets buying bulls, some bulls deviate from parent average? Is that because of indicators elsewhere?
It's an indicator there's more genes from one part of it or the other. One part of the pedigree or the other, but there's not really markers for.
So it deviates away from 50-50 quarter,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's not a genomic data.
it's not really very
So
good.
you're saying it's not reliable?
It's not
The
reliable.
message is don't sell genomic bulls on calvings
I thought it was
because it'll bite you in the backside.
Yeah, that's the message.
Mind
You're
you,
exactly right.
mind you though, some of the bulls we have got down as carbonates, and we've actually sold them to clients. They actually have been small, like Gonzo, they're just little rabbits.
Well, I can
Yeah,
take
but
it
then-
to the herd that they weren't little rabbits.
Yeah,
But there's bulls like large, started out at 7.5–8%, is now 12.
yeah.
So you'll get a hide somewhere along the line.
Are there any other traits like that, other than calving eggs, that are not genomics, they're parent average?
Because milk and speed and temperament.
They're parent average.
Because it's not shown on the...
What am I looking for? Just trying to jump from one presentation
I
to
think that's
another.
just Gonzo's. No,
So we're gonna-
that would be.
Put a bit of an emphasis on where the Jersey
Yeah,
breed
no, I know,
has
they've got
been,
Yes.
where it's gone, where it's at now,
Hour
and
10
how the US has got to where the,
wasn't just one
Got
drop.
if beauty shuts up.
Sorry.
Right. Yeah, and I don't want to, once we start that part, I want to just stay Jersey focused. I want to, I'm having trouble, I jump to where I want to be. I want to talk about the, here, that's what I want to talk about genomics specific for both breeds for a minute, and then do the history and forward. And this may be repetition, you know, that's a genome, that's a part of a snip of a genome, this is what there is. And the only way to, you know, is that good or bad? What is it? The only way to assign value to that is to find it in the population previously and how did it perform. That's what tells us what that is. That's how we figure it out. And if we've seen that 10,000 times, we got good information. If we've seen it 12 times, it's not as good.
But that's never going to appear the same. But sure, we've got to...
Well, there, we can show you animals where they're 97% what you would expect from the pedigree. They have their own unique one. Everyone has their own unique one. You're exactly right. But you may have given traits that look exactly like Dad did on a trait, or Mom did on a trait. Same series. And if you see that, and it's got a lot more information behind that and a lot more occurrences of that, that's very predictable. Because if it's the same exact sequence for a trait,
is that one trait? Like, is
that's part of one trait. There's 2 billion gene pairs. 2 billion.
I'm sure you could have got to number 3 instead of staying at 1, 0, 1, 2.
This is, you talk to the scientists all the time. This is the nucleotides and where they're at on the okay? But, you know, there's a series, okay? Like here's a lot of 2s in a row. Well, where you find that, how did it perform, then you can begin to assign, well, this is what it's done. Okay, that's what DNA, well, it is how it works. So it's amount of data. PIC, the Pig Improvement folks, when genomics came out in bovine, told us to take a back seat for a while. Because it's going to take you 3 or 4 years to get this up to speed, to get enough data points. Because they went through it with pigs. They made some mistakes early on when they first got genomics till they got more data. Because it's about how many times have you seen that to know how confident you can be. Really, and that's how it works. In a very crude explanation. We've seen it, this is what it does. Every animal has its own unique, lots of places or a few places. So if you've got a pedigree that's a very common pedigree, it's probably fairly reliable what the genomics is estimating. If it's an outcross pedigree, you're a lot more at risk because we don't have as much information yet. So, while, okay, we found an outcross that's high, let's go to town on it, we may need to walk to town instead of driving to town, so to speak.
The interesting part of saying about that, Larry, to me was, you say like how a lot of these companies just jumped in really hard and going with genomics. And okay, in 3 years not going to be there, but they're just going to say, they're out of it, it's just a natural regression of genetics. Like I thought, it's proof it drops down the rankings, it's just better ones around now, we just move on.
They'll use the GA line that GA have used forever. Why are the bulls that I'm milking today not in the top 50 anymore? Because the new ones are so much better.
Yeah, exactly.
That's their line for the last 100 years, and they won't change from it. The people selling genomic bulls will still use that line.
If your normal team of bulls is 5 bulls, use 10 or 15 of them and change them every time you join. And you'll just keep making progress. Okay?
Isn't that's where LIC got really unstuck? They brought out this genomic can.
No, they just jumped in.
Everything. Yeah, jumped in.
They jumped in too quick with no reliability.
Yeah, that's right. That's yeah. What I said. Okay. Sit back and wait to get some database. They didn't. They just jumped in and went for it.
Yeah.
So what get bulls in the first place anyway?
And what they'll show you eventually, what they'll claim eventually, because yeah, it's replacing, and this is a herd, it's Jersey herd, and it's by lactation. This is HPR, this is GMS information just looked at differently. That's all this is. Every time you get a backup and you do GMS, this information's in there. These cows are ranked by HPR. It's segmented by lactation. Here's the point I want to make. Like, JPI gets better every year. That cheese merit gets better every year. And so on, all the traits. That's making progress every year because the sires are higher every year. Okay? All right, I'm gonna show you these heifers segmented out themselves. The top 750 heifers in this herd are 547 she's bearing. At the bottom are 300. It's a big difference. Now, as a group, they're better than anything he's ever had. They're higher because the sires are higher. Okay, and this is what GA will, you know, they could say this. If you use nothing but genomics, you'll still see this pattern. It's going to be, and you use a lot of them, it'll get higher every year. So they can claim they're making genetic progress. Don't worry about inbreeding, don't worry about anything else. But if you want to differentiate yourselves, or the dairymen, okay, here's those heifers, they have this spread in them. So, even if they're all sired by good bulls, this heifer's not going to make me the money that heifer's going to make me, Mr. Dairyman. And it's going to cost the dairyman as much to raise her and feed her as it does that one, right? And he's going to make less money. He already knows that the day it's born. But he still invests the same amount of money in her as her. But he's going to make less. I'm having trouble working that out. Why you don't, working out, why not try to change that? And that's about changing who the mothers of the calves are. But if all you do is stay with the GA line, or just the bull stud line, hey, Mr. Dairyman, we're helping you. Look how much you've gained by breeding our bulls. You can show them that. And they are making progress. But back up another slide. Here's their mothers. Look at this difference. Ranked by HPR, which means that these cows have actual performance and genetic data. Okay. Look at that difference. All right, I'm going to breed the whole herd of my favorite bull. And I'm going to get a heifer here and a heifer here. And, and so I'm still going to have these spreads. Because if they want to make real genetic progress, they do something different with that heifer. They try to get 2 heifers out of her and not a heifer out of her, or something. Whatever it is. If you really want to help them, you have that conversation, so to speak.
That's what we've got Angus saying before.
Exactly.
That'd be interesting. Things are tough in season like this year. So we'd like to have it, like with some guys go, it's just a bit tougher, I'll keep an animal by their homebred bull. And to show them the data, that something like that we can have, when we go there and say, oh, these bulls are hound, this is where you're going, this is what's going to happen. Sometimes you need that data to show them, so not just to talk to them. I mean,
We go back a few years when people were struggling like people in the West are now. When the heifers calved in, they said, oh, don't look at me 2-year-olds. They're from the drought. They're by the cheap semen I used. Don't look at them. And the way I look at the industry, you guys are now where we were 6 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So that information, yeah.
lessons learned in the past, well, that's what's probably come down to.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the lesson. So if you're selling donor and whole sheep, often $12 in the cow.
No, we'll get a $10 on the cow. It's running at the moment, it's got a $10 on the cow.
But that's what the cost is going to be.
Oh, huge.
Donor and flower barrel are probably not the greatest examples.
No,
Bad.
No.
No, because they're still in balance. But
Yeah.
And this is leave them all label and everything will be good and everything's up to snuff. No problem. And I love watching Jeremy look at this slide. I'm throwing a lot at you. This is the positive and negative of all traits compared to each other, and every joining that's ever made, he's going to play. How they relate. Red's not good, by the way. Red's, there's as many red ones as there are black ones. And so when a dairyman breeds a certain way, he's going to get what he breeds for, but he's going to get what he doesn't want to.
Does everyone understand what all the numbers mean?
That's good.
that's good.
I don't understand that. We're not racist here, Mark.
Right.
No, but,
You know, like, if you breed for stature, you're gonna raise the somatic cell score, for example. There are, you know, it's breed for more milk, you get less fat. Vice versa, you know, you know, the healthiest cow's here. So Mr. Dairyman, which is the right cow, they're trying to work that out all the time. When they get something in their mind, that's what GMS is. You describe the cow they want based on how they sell the milk and all the other inputs and breed for her. Don't try to fix things. That's what mating programs are. They're trying to fix something. Bad foot, deep udder, and it works. Okay, I want to fix her deep udder and I get the best bull for that. And you fix that. What are you breeding for the cow you want? If you're breeding for the cow you want, you're going to fix that udder too. You breed for what all you want, how you get paid, you're going to fix the other stuff, because the cow that makes you money doesn't have a deep udder or have bad feet. You're going to fix those things. But mating programs that they're fixated on something that's broke, you know, barn might be burning, but you're fixing the wire on a fence because that got your attention. You fought?
Can you just go back to that one again, the plus and minuses?
Yep.
I mean, it's interesting, you look at, you know, your protein, how much the mice has come up with the PTOP, you know, your protein, the mice that come through there, your reductive life, that, yeah, or reductive life for a lot of the mice that come up through there. You know, just interesting where, some of the things you look for, what can happen, isn't it?
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's really food for thought, actually. Yeah.
It is.
I don't want to pick on you, Larry, there's a couple of mistakes on cell count. There's a few that should be black that are red
Where we at?
on the cell count line.
Yeah?
They're positive numbers, not negative numbers.
Yeah, if you raise butterfat, you're going to raise somatic cell. That's not good.
Yeah, sorry.
I know,
Yeah.
the bloody somatic cell, you have to really think about, because it's...
Yeah, front, sorry. Yeah.
You raise fat percent. This is what happened. This is a Jersey part. Denmark, and you know, you have to work this out with Jersey clients, and they'll say, well, we bred some Danish bulls and they were no bloody good, so I don't want anything to do with Denmark, and all you got on the ABS team, it all has Danish in it. So, I mean, I had a couple dairymen ask me that earlier in the week. Denmark had a 7% fat Jersey cow, and they had a problem. They had a lot of clinicals. They had a lot of somatics. And they developed the RS index. Those of you who have heard, are familiar with the RS index, it's really a mastitis index. It's because they had a problem. The way they corrected their problems, they came to North America and got protein and bred it in quietly and would create bulls. They'd flush a few cows, buy North American bulls, and get... Anyway, what they did is they took the 7% cow, made her a 5.5% cow, raised the protein, got them closer together, and they got a healthier cow. Much better value. And Limvig was half you when we brought him back, were good. We needed more fat. We bred for milk and type in Jersey because we thought we had to compete with Holsteins. And we needed to get more milk in them, and we did. But we lost our fat. So in the US, mixing that tempered fat back in with Limvig and with Impulse has been brilliant for us. And we've now created, there's a number of bulls that have Limvig mothers that have done really well. Maximum was a good, best Limvig son. And, you know, Impulse. So, you know, that's an example of just where you went, Tim, Littleton. Where's some at there? And you thought, yeah, but actually, okay.
On that, with your daughter preg rate,
Yeah.
if you're breeding for that, you're virtually breeding for negative everything else.
Water buffaloes are bloody fertile. Well, if you have no transition, no stress, no issues, and they have a calf the size of a popsicle, they'll get pregnant 21 days later, right? Well, that's the extreme, the other way. So, but there's all these trade-offs. This, I think this illustrates what things we measure linearly are our friend and our foe. Okay.
Couldn't you fix that by, instead of scoring a cow, the optimum, say it's 9 or 90%,
Yeah.
why don't you score that middle cow as the optimum, and both the extremes on the other side minus?
That's a matter of that well, if you score
That
you
9.
score that one a 1 and that one a 9, and that one's a 5, let's say. That's the one you want. What you do is you say, that's the one I want.
That's the 9.
Yeah,
Not
but that's confusing linearly.
Yeah.
The way to answer your question, I think, is to put the gold star next to the 5, put a red
Oh, okay.
sign
It's the
next to
same.
9 and a red sign next to 1.
That's the same difference.
It is. It's like that 100% deal. That's 100.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. We have not, it's that linear picture box that they buy semen from, you sell semen with. If they're all to the right, well, that's a good bull. I want him. I can trust him because everything's to the right. That's not to the right on a...
No, I know what you're saying, but what you see is we bred for the wrong.
We bred for this.
Yeah.
And we're getting it more all the time.
Yeah, no, you're true.
Because that's what we bred for.
So that's where a bull like Beacon, you look at his type curve,
Top shot.
his rear teeth placement's back near the middle line. That's the middle cow. He's the bull you want to pull the back teeth out under the quarter.
Yeah, I said
Not
to
the one
Barry
off the scale.
this morning, I've always thought of Beacon as being good enough to be a Jersey bull. Because from behind, there reminded me more of Jerseys than Holsteins.
Except in black and white.
Yeah.
Not biased there, Larry. Not
No,
biased.
I'm not biased at all.
Not biased at all, no.
Not by itself. No.
Is that
So,
right, Tony?
you get,
Is that right?
You just took the patch off the eye for 1 second, mate.
Both of them.
so, okay, those are some of the things that are in play. And a very quick about some of it, and I'm going to apply it more in pieces to our Jersey specific, and we're going to get into where ABS has been with Jersey and where we're getting to. And I want to start a little bit about where we're at. And I'm using this slide here because I got to go to Dufford. This is the majority of the bulls are marketing in the U.S. right now, Jersey bulls. Blue, he's a young bull, genomic bull. Black is proven, red, second crop. Okay. Normal distribution, blue would be higher than black, black higher than red. And that's what time does. Vernon and Advance are sort of an enigma, being black and still ranking among the genomic bulls. That's how high they are, especially Vernon. The only genomic bull in the U.S. that's higher than Vernon is Visionary.
What doses do you see you're going to sell Visionary? He's the highest bull in the last 30 months. How many doses are you pumping in that bull? Obviously, how many doses you got, or what do you get a cut off and how many doses you sell that bull, and you just get going until
We sell every dose he produces.
Yeah.
And we're sorting some of it now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll answer that some more with a couple illustrations. But those bulls, at the top we sell every dose they'll make. So. A little bit more about where we're at, and then a little bit more on history. We've got all these Jersey bulls being sorted in the U.S., including Vance, who's the number 2 bull. We've got legal being sorted. What's happening in the U.S. What's happening in the U.S., and this is good for you Holstein guys to see this. Some of you saw it yesterday, and so part of it's going to be a repeat. But hang on, just give me a moment. It's changing dramatically, and I showed this to guys yesterday. This is an old way of looking at which is the best cow, which is the right cow. There's a newer formula. It was fat-corrected milk. Cow gave more milk, lower components. Still, the dairyman thought won the day. There's a new formula called money-corrected milk that goes from the milk check backwards. And these two Holstein dairies with these two tank averages, these different components, they're the same based on the milk check. Okay? Well, look at, here's a Jersey herd, and it's extreme differences, but it illustrates the point. That's very low components, but with fat-corrected milk, energy-corrected milk, money-corrected milk, they're the same. These two cows are the same when you really look at the milk check. Income per day is the same. When you weigh the feed in, this cow is making more money than that cow. That's what Holstein dairymen are asking for. This is the real truth. Not, my cow scales more so I get more of a beef check. That's why I have Holsteins, or my bull calf's worth more. They are, and they better be. Because you spend a third again more money raising them up and doing all that other stuff.
Do your factories pay like us? Like, because
Yeah.
that's just depending on
Do
what
what
you
you-
pay. Yeah.
Yeah, our factories pay for, essentially they pay for pounds of fat and protein. Whatever is in that tank of milk, how many pounds of fat and protein are in there, that's what I get paid for.
And they pay more for protein?
Yep. Yep. Most places. There's some differences, but there's schemes like Artemis in Idaho. They're milking 15,000 jerseys. The jerseys live in the tenant housing, the old dairies that they accumulated over time, and that milk all goes in cheese. And then they build a facility that has 15,000 black and whites in it. That milk goes into powder that they shoot up through a silo and they filter it out and it goes into energy bars. They don't want Jersey milk for that. And they don't want Holstein milk for their cheese plant. They have both. So they have a different breed for what they do with it. They've got this thing penciled to the T. It all depends on what they're doing with the product.
Most of our factories are standard, you know, they'll pay so much.
Yes.
Usually twice for protein than fat. I just wondered, you know.
We have, you think of a scenario we've got lots of different fluid, powder, cheese, kinds of cheese. We've got all kinds, but,
So what is that?
well, this is just taking, if whatever the paycheck is, there will be a recipe as you mix them together where Jersey will make you as much money as Holstein or more, depending. And what a dairyman wants to know today, more and more so, is if I'm going to have a dairy here, this is the kind of fodder I can get, this is how much water I have available, etc. And this is how I'm going to get paid, do the math. And a lot of times this breeds winning. The scenario, if you put 10 Holsteins on a paddock, is that 13 Jerseys? If you have this scenario, you're probably going to go Jerseys if you just do the math. And there's environments where the Holstein's going to win. But it's not just looking at one cow to the next and deciding, it's doing this math, however you get there. That's the point.
And the real difference is, Larry, like Tony said, you can have 13 jerseys compared to 10 Holsteins.
Exactly. Exactly. So, the history, let's see, I gotta keep opening that. The history has been that we were 5%, less than 5% of the population. And we were less than 5% of the U.S. dairy population. By 2020, we're going to be 20%. That's a huge shift in a very short period of time. Huge shift. Because the dairymen are doing the real math. That's part of the point. And there's places where they fit. In California, I was telling Verity, California standard dairy model of small acreage, buy your feed, that's going away. With the current feed prices we've had, we're closing dairies in California right and left. Not so much the rest of the country because they raise their own fodder. California, a lot of them don't. If they do, they're stable. They're dairymen selling their high-value land and going to West Texas or Colorado or Indiana or South Dakota or wherever where they have more land. Water's an issue there, though, a lot of those places, more so. And so they're doing the math. And they may be selling black and white cows and starting a Jersey dairy. Happening. And a decade ago, there was about 1.5 million doses of Jersey sold. Now it's about 4 million.
Doesn't seem like the global trend, then, does it?
Well, the global trend, of course, this was an economic blip, 2009 was. The global trend is not quite as fast as the U.S. trend. It's not. But the word will get around. Even things like the carbon footprint on a Jersey is 80% of what a Holstein is. That's been documented. So if you can lower the carbon footprint by 20%, that word will get around. So if you're a European dairyman, you may be told you're going to milk Jersey someday. I don't know. Well, it's a real factor someday.
There's a bridge girl made a lot of money out of that.
Yeah, there is.
It's interesting too, Mary Goldman have just been through discussions of what their new payment system's going to be.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise, they're going to start paying more for fat.
They sell normal cheese too, that was what the message of their attorney trained, wasn't it?
So,
What increasing fat
there's an increased world demand for fat products.
For butter and that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're going to start paying more for fat percent in your milk.
So, you like this slide, don't you, Tim? I think. Little Tim. This is bulls, Jersey bulls sampled by stud by year.
And what are all the numbers? What's 1, 7, 11?
Gen X, Select, Alter, Accelerate, and C-Mix. Select dominated the Jersey breed for a period. Prior to that, ABS did. ABS went on holiday. Go back to Top Brass, Lester, before that Generator, and Brook, and some of those bulls that are icons and pedigrees of a lot of the Jersey breed. ABS was there. Then sort of during the time that ABS changed hands 2 or 3 times, and a lot of you are familiar with all that history, Jersey took a holiday really in the focus. But I can tell you full stop, they are on the radar today, and it's been a growing thing in the genus look. And when we do our budgets and we have estimates where it could be 20% Jersey in the U.S. by 2020, that flat has the attention of everyone at genus. And so we're rapidly increasing what we're investing in Jersey, what we're looking, and it's been a progress. You step back here, we're graduating. One of the things that ABS, I want to mention a couple things about ABS, and coming from the outside to ABS, I think I can say this. One of the things that attracted me to ABS was RMS, was the focus on reproduction. Far exceeded anybody else in the industry.
And you were where before you came to ABS?
I was at Alta. It's 24 years, Carnation, Landmark, Alta. Ran the sire program, did a lot of that stuff. But reproduction, ABS had a great focus on it. And as dairy herd size grew, it became about who's joined and who isn't. Bugger all the rest of it. If I don't have pregnant cows, I'm not going to be in business next year. That got to be the focus. So getting their attention back on genetics has been a real issue. Genomics has helped create that conversation more so. And then they look at the business. They look at where the puck is going to be, as a saying that's kind of a Canadian thing, but you know, the term in hockey is don't skate to where the puck is, skate to where the puck is going to be. And ABS has had continually updating our own index of where things are going to be. And ABS has done a great job with that. More top 100 TPI bulls than anybody in recent times. It's because they were skating to where the puck was going to be. That's how we got Gavins and bulls like that. And how we have all these bulls that have a great mixture of Danish and US genes that are topping the charts. Violet has 27 sons in AI. That's a lot for a Jersey cow. We have all the high ones, somehow. Okay? The top 2 proven ones, the top genomic one. What I'm saying, and the radar at ABS, when you do ABS dollars and the way things are going, it's on this breed of cows, hugely. It's what's going to change dramatically. ABS is investing in studs in China and India, and all those things. You guys be closely familiar with some of that. It's a very foresighted, visionary company, and I'm tickled to be a part of it from those standpoints, especially with the attention they're paying on the Jersey breed. But, you know, Select's starting to take a nap.
So, when you say ABS was influential in jerseys 20 years ago, how influential?
Well, this country, I mean, I used to love to come here and watch the progress in this country as a Jersey person. What I wasn't fully comfortable with, it was all ABS bulls that was happening. Because what Brass did and Lester and those bulls, it changed the course of Jersey breed here. We went through that decade, 15 years earlier in the States. Milestone's Generator was the principal bull that changed the U.S. Jersey breed. He was at ABS. They milked at head type, put milk into cows. It was brilliant. You know, a lot of people think maybe Duncan changed the breed. It wasn't Duncan, it was Generator that really got the breed going. And he was an ABS bull. So, but, you know, sadly ABS took a holiday. They really did in the Jersey breed. But the focus changed. Dick Smith, who ran the sire program at ABS, got switched on to jerseys by doing the math. He's the biggest convert I've ever seen. He is. He won't even talk to you about Holsteins anymore. And he's the guy behind all the success ABS had in the proven Holstein bulls. And he hung up his Holstein hat and put a Jersey hat on. And that has a lot to do with having legal and headline and on you go. And ABS is the dominant in Jersey. Plus, you know, you guys have been very successful here in the last few years, and the dominance of thank you. You know, Navarre would have had a play if the bugger would have stayed alive, and so it's coming together, and I really think there's some genes we can source from here to go back for some of our situations there. So the history, you know, it's like ABS is back in the game, and Violet is the dominant cow, and ABS is at the forefront of that. This is a bloody good bull. He's the best son of the cow. It's the most complementary mating. for those of you that haven't heard me make those comments, this bull is the best bull ABS has had since Lester, period. He just is. They are, that's what they are. They're out of everything. 3 of those we flushed with Vernon for sons, and he's if there's
You
one.
raised a few eyebrows and he said yesterday, a few guys after, he said, gee, Nuss, he said he's just put his heart, you put your heart in the sleeve and you said it, and I said, well, obviously the guy believes in it because his reputation. I said, so the bull must be good. And you gave a lot of food for thought himself to him yesterday. It really did. A few of those guys were,
Good. I haven't barked about a bull like this since, it's been a while since I've seen a bull like this in the Spruce.
So I guess, Larry, what we were talking about the other day in the car, from looking at the Jersey population in Australia over the last 20 years, Leicester killed it for everybody 20 years ago, and the US Jersey killed it for Australian jerseys. They were the dominant thing. And then I guess a US Jersey bull came and stood in Australia, in a town, and took the image away from
Right, he was an Aussie bull.
Turned an Aussie bull. Flower Power then came up. US bred stood in Australia. So we sort of then turned our focus a bit to Australia. And then at about that time, Select and Worldwide got fairly dominant in the US in jerseys, and they actually had the staff member, Peter Ruff, focus on it. All of a sudden, all the jersey breeders in Australia went, we don't need the Australian stuff, we need this worldwide stuff, and that's where we need to head to. That happened. About the same time Peter Ruff left Worldwide, then I guess Valerian, Elton, Van Halen all came up with proofs. Nobody took any notice of the US because there was nobody telling anyone in Australia that the US had any jerseys. So we all sort of focused on those Australian bulls, and I think right at the moment, the jersey breed in Australia is going where to right now. And I think having Larry here and Tani doing what she's doing in jerseys is our answer to go, well, we've got the product, we've got some Australian product and US product, ABS is the answer. And hopefully Tani's role mirrors what Worldwide did with Peter Ruff. And they even both come from Queensland.
She's much better looking than he is.
Much better.
he was a rock for that.
But, I don't know, do you agree with that summation, Tani?
I think as an Australian, he's great to have a local bull if he can run couple.
Absolutely.
Because it does get the focus. A lot of guys do say, hey, I'm Australian, I want to have Australian bulls.
Absolutely.
They still want to use America, but they do like to have something out of here too. And I think it shows confidence in our breed, because they look and go, well, what are we doing? If we can't come up with a bull, A, who's picking our bulls, they're doing it right, and B, is our population on the right direction? And that's something I think a lot of Jersey breeders do look at. They do like to use other bulls, but they like to see, I think that's when we had Van Halen, as you said, with leading those bulls, then we did have Elton, and then we did get Van Halen up and doing what he's doing of so-called type and the rest of it. It's got to happen through. And if it does, farmers are going, hey, it gives them a real healthy feel in what's going on in our industry here as well.
Yeah, but I think the thing to keep in mind, the 2 bulls that nearly every Jersey farmer in Australia says they've been happy with are Astound and Flower Power. They all call them Australian bulls, but they're not.
No.
So it's
They're only born here.
Yeah. They were developed here, so they have the Aussie brand. And I think you have the best of here, and you have the best of, you've had this, Elton's had their attention. This bull looks very interesting. The story's not all in yet, but he looks very interesting. We have the top of the charts. Anywhere you want to look at, you go to the show ring. This is the hottest bull in the breed, by far. This bull has a lot of respect in that.
Can you just go back one bull? That one there, Virgin. Can you just give us a bit of a background here?
What about his code? He's a HO bull. 94 HO.
You're the first one to.
No,
these crossbreds are this
I saw 94 H, just like they must be because they're the same Jacobs. That's my.
Abbott sent me this.
Well, it's not because it's from St. Jacobs, that's why. I thought it must be.
HO's Holstein.
Yeah.
I saw So what's the main responses story and what are we doing with them, Larry?
We're going to change that first.
29?
No, it's 94.
No, we only thought because we're St Jacobs.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I thought it was on it, because it must have been St Jacobs. That's
Yeah.
just one of those.
Did you say this thing?
Yeah, I never even looked at the, you know, I've been looking at, you know, what's it say and, you know. Sorry, where were we?
So it gives a bit of background on the ball, where you see this ball should be used. Just, I mean, it's obviously a new show ball. Where do you
It's a
see
new show ball.
Yeah, where you see it in the marketplace in here.
Use it on something that doesn't have milk.
It does have milk.
That does have milk would be better.
Yeah.
There's not any milk in the bowl. Their responses are very slow maturing, all style.
What was the responses, Peter?
He was a maternal brother to Renaissance.
Yeah.
Oh, now I have to think. You know, when they get to you forget about what they're. He's a maternal brother to Renaissance, and it's not a C tops.
Something
It might
different.
be a C tops, actually. I gotta think. Okay, and of course out of Veronica, I was talking to Brent Walker the other day, and we were talking about Vivid over at Bushley, and I said, hey, I like Vivid more than I did Veronica at the same age. He said, so do I.
Well, the two best Jersey cows at Madison with her and mother.
Yeah. Yeah, no question. I mean, Vivid is better here than Veronica everywhere.
So the actual animals in milk, or they're just yams? What's the Garfield sport? Where is he at the moment?
There's a couple fresh.
Right. So they're just starting to carve down.
Yeah, there was a yearling in milk that was nominated all Canadian. Pretty little other, but how good are they as cows? We don't.
So anyway, we could have had him the same age in Australia. We turned him back a couple of years ago. The bull's back in production. He should be here by the start of May.
What price we put on him?
$20.
Every third show heifer in North America is bred to this bull.
And I'm sick of the requests from Jersey show people wanting to know when it's coming. And I'm sure Tony gets the same emails, questions.
Right. And for the Jersey show people, we've sorted this bull now. He's sexed.
So he's a non-milk bull?
He's a non-milk bull, higher gun.
He's a -800.
He's -800 of milk, but he is 5 points of productive life, and we have some dairymen that have bred this bull on a part of their herd to glue them back together, realizing that we're not going to get any source of milk here, but he'll glue them back together, and he will make a fairly fancy cow in the ring. And you know, part of the focus here is we're at all stages, just like having Aftershock, Industry, along with Dorsey and whatever else. ABS has a broad team. The same thing in jerseys. You have the bulls here. We have these kind of bulls, these 94H Jersey bulls, and you know that. I kind of classify headline, Ballard, and higher gun to me all the same productive life-wise. I call it productive life the old-fashioned way because they're slow maturing. It's not because they're good on, they're great on DPR and productive life and those traits. They're slower maturing. Tony got to see a number of these along with seeing legals at Ollins, and you were not as impressed with these, right? And I'm telling her you need to come back and see them second calf, and then you will, okay.
So John, we get to see those hopefully.
Well,
So we'll be able to tell Tony she was wrong.
I've just been running through his head.
He said, I've got to go back.
What was interesting, Larry, I remember when headline first came out here, I had a lot of clients who used Rescue at. And it was just a bull, it was just midstream, nothing flash, put a lot of the herds, and they just love the cows. They come in, they work really well in the herds, product, and it's funny, I went to the guy's place, I walk in, I get the catalogue, and they go, I want that bull for a start. Because they like the rescues, I saw that there was a rescue son, they said, we'll use him for a start.
Yeah.
What else you got? They were actually telling me they want to use a bull, even though they didn't price it, I want to use that bull. So that was a really good thing on the sire himself.
Well, Rescue was a good mating on his mother. His mother was an Avery that was not extreme in anything. She's a square box, just a box. And she needed a very wet, faster maturing bull. The way the bull breeds type-wise is very much like his mother, with a bit more juice to him. I mean, he does have 2,000 pounds more milk than Higher Gun does, when you put it in that perspective. And they're both long life kind of bulls. But he makes nice cows that are not as impressive as 2-year-olds as they are as 3-year-olds. You know, this cow's matured very nicely, for example. So that's what headline is.
I think sometimes though that's what you want. People forget someone's a 2-year-old's a baby. It's got to be a baby because it's a 2-year-old, and then it comes into a 3-year-old, fully on maxi cow. I mean, sometimes those big bull versus 2-year-olds don't seem to come on the next lactation. Just don't seem to quite have that pizzazz that you expect in the next couple of years in reduction and like that.
Well, that's what this bull is. If they want some of that, that's what he is. That they don't mature as fast. We are going to have a Navarre son graduate this time in the U.S., sourced in the U.S. Won't be a high bull, but just FYI.
It would easy, they due to carve in show next year. Blades, when they due to carve in, because we saw a blade.
There's 2 blades, you have to be careful.
Yeah, this is the Navarre blade, mate. This is the one we saw as a PT bull.
Yeah, you probably did.
I mean, we saw, because he came out here as genomic, came out here as a PT bull. I reckon they're due to carve this year.
You're probably a season behind where we're at.
So you've got to carve them now?
Yeah, yeah.
Halfway through the lactation.
So they,
Well,
He'll get a proof in April.
it's got
he'll get approved. Well, there's 11 daughters in one herd. The guy that bred the bull, he got the first semen on the bull, and he's got 11 of them fresh.
It's just
Well, that
interesting.
doesn't tell
I don't
me
think they're
anything.
due to carve this year in Australia. I would think they are due to carve this season.
Good.
Probably the lads are booking in late, I reckon.
Here's Premier, who, you know, all we ever did was publish this. We got out of the way. Really. This is the full sister to Premier. This is a shot of her udder. That's encouraging.
Well, last year in the catalogue we filled the whole page with pictures of just her.
And his son. And the boy.
Wow, this new little piece, she's on the cover. This is what the bull ran natural at the herd of bred the bull before we got him. And there's 18 heifers from that mom. Here's 2 of the first ones of those fresh. So these are not AIs, these are from the breeder. This one went through a sale, River Valley bought. This is her first day, and the robot is a fresh heifer. That's a snapshot of her udder. This is at the breeder, the first one to calve for them, and she scored 85 already. But I asked him and these fitter guys why she's not straight on top, because all pictures I see, cows are
Dodgy photographer took that one.
Cold day, ice there, so she's
So the AIs are about 6 months behind these.
What's happening?
This is the first evidence we have of where he might breed. Encouraging. Not time to get any more overwrought than they already are on the bull. And we hope he's all right. Jupiter, high ranking, impulse, and you can see impulse somewhat in the way they breed as well as hallmark. You put impulse and hallmark together, they're bloody tall. This is the #1 dairy form bull in breed. They are tall. He's not a bull to use lightly. He's dangerous. You use him on frail cows that already milk. It's dangerous. They need vaccinated and taught how to milk and woke up. He's great for that. He'll put fire while we're in him.
So perfect on elephants.
That's, well, I mean, you would know better than I, but
They're very tame.
yeah. I mean, the bull's got a lovely pedigree. First 3 dams are all excellent. And, you know, it's,
Is he strong enough for the other?
To go on.
what's that?
Really strong enough for novice to go through the other?
Yeah.
So, he's a bull that, I mean, we're sampling sons of the bull. We think the bull has a real place. But he's not a bull to close your eyes with, per se, if you will.
So we stopped producing semen for us for a few months last year, and we've now got collections coming again.
He doesn't seem to like the heat. And, you know, where, for example, this bull, you can close your eyes with any bull, you can close your eyes with this bull. Just,
Well, he's put enough strength.
yep, yep.
Also good on outings.
This
Have you
bull,
worried about on this year? He's over 4 points.
yes.
Probably if you ask most jerseys that they're looking for frame, they've got a lot of Beretta and a lot of the smaller dairy
Mhm.
hallmarks, those sort of, and so when you're saying, you know, not to use a frozen, we used probably a Manhattan, I used him purely for frame.
Black and Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would think Jupiter would be great.
No, have you got what would be the best ABS bull for strength?
For strength, this bull balances them. They have every bit of the strength that they need for to add strength. This bull, they're balanced cows too. Aggressive strength, they'll probably be premier. Don't know for sure yet. Aggressive strength, probably the bull that will have the most strength at the end of the day of all these bulls will be premier. The two bulls that sire the most balance and the most consistency are Vernon and Legal.
So stature width.
It's width, you know. Not as extreme on stature. Vance would have more stature, and so would Jupiter. They'll have more stature. There's more frame there, total frame.
That's what Lester did, wasn't it? Lester put dairy strength in it.
Yeah, and this bull will put dairy strength. Jupiter will put big frames, but I worry, when I say be careful on cows already out of control, I don't think Jupiter has, I would worry about his udders getting too big on those kind of cows, the Jupiter. That would be my worry by avoiding frail cows who they've already lost control of memory, and I wouldn't use Jupiter there.
He's only going to be available in 6 sessions, isn't he? So,
Yes.
yeah, we won't find they'll put him into cows.
Yeah. But this bull, he fits fine on the kind of cows you're talking about. They're wider than they are tall. And this bull, I mean, these heifers are out of everything, and they're all the same. They're out of strong cows and frail cows both. They're out of everything. It's the safest bull we've got. He might be a safe bull. We'll see. So, okay. What have we not hit?
I've got questions on particular bulls or particular pedigrees or lines or size stacks.
So where's the next, what's the next plot line? What are you sort of outcrosses? We're obviously looking for outcrosses. Where are ABS going that way? I mean, because obviously I know we're all after that next pipe dream or field or something.
Sure. And we're trying them and testing them. Okay. You know, there was a season, this was very much the outcross. And then that tends to go away. We sampled one Vernon son while Vernon was a young bull out of the Dale. This is a different pedigree.
What's that? What's he?
Well, some of your blokes won't want him because he's got a spot of red and white in him.
These games for a brother.
Oh, okay.
Outcross? You want it
Yeah.
outcross?
Anyway, across there it is.
Yeah. We never bought a son of gratitude because she had a head on her that didn't look like a jersey. So we stayed away from her. And then these sons got proofs and everybody's using them. So, and there are a few heifers that are pretty good by these bulls. And so we bought, and then the truth came out.
It's still something going.
If I still use the bloody ball.
Well, 40% of the semen we sell at this point in the US, Jersey semen, goes to Holstein Dairy. They may be milking all jerseys now, but they don't care.
They don't care, yeah.
They don't paper anything anyway. They just want profitable calves. So that's one of the red and white is contributing to stirring the gene pool. You know, we've played with.
So it's funny to our gun, we have farmers that use gun, and I said to the friend, he said it hasn't herders, because it's put foreign bodies back in the cows. And commercial guy said that's what I wanted, and they put it back in the cow. Do I really care? There's a touch in there. And when you think about it, you're talking under 5% Holstein at the end, and they go the next generation's basically gone anyway. They didn't even really care.
This bull is 85 pounds of fat, 64 pounds of protein. He's worth a look.
The thing about it, okay, it's just because people are going to say, oh, this bull's got some Holstein, but what are you talking about? 2%? Because you got you're not talking a lot, are you?
Dale's mother was 22% Holstein.
Yeah.
Was the genomic. And so then there's Dale, and then she's sired by Dale, and then she has a calf, and then her
So
calf will have a calf, so you're 5 generations.
So it's 22, 11, 5.5, because you halve each one. So you're talking about 1%, under 1%.
Yeah,
Basically
a couple
12.5.
percent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it could be as much as 5%. But that's what it is. You know, well, he's 64 pounds of protein, 85 pounds of fat. That's not nothing.
Not to be sneezed at.
No.
Well, productive Boston peanuts.
And that would stir the blood a little. You know, Jacintos were just cows, artists, they were solid, not big cows, they're solid cows. You know, Dale, and she's no little sister. So, we've got, you know, I mean, I showed you,
We bring all smack to you?
haven't yet.
Not at the moment. And at the moment, the Australian Jersey Society won't let any Jersey breeders register the calves as jerseys. Well, yeah, now, Larry, I've sent emails this morning, had 1,000 backwards and forwards from Russ. There was a bull award we were going to bring in.
Right.
He's got Dale in him, so we've culled him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be happy, this bull's on order.
Good. Well, the other bull hasn't made semen.
Yes.
Yeah. But this bull's got semen. And, you know, I'm pumping this bull. If he mixes legal and maximum together, I mean, this old cow, she's no frail little sister. She's the mother, maximum mother of this bull. You need something with strength, I guarantee you, this bull's got it. Ain't anything frail in his pedigree anyway. He's not as much firewater. I mean, it's 59 of fat and 38 of protein, but there's a lot of power. So we're getting where we can to find something clear out of the blue. The reason it's clear out in the blue is because when it's good. So that's a tough thing.
Just to change a little, Tony, what Jersey bulls from Australia might graduate this year? There's been a bit of talk of Couches having a bull coming up and that. So is there anything there, Tim, that we can talk about or sort of offer people at the moment?
So obviously Baboon, and then Max Appeal, who's Couch's bull, who you would have possibly seen the full sister in the herd yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He's
The
looking,
maximum son.
yeah, he's looking like somewhere around the top 10. So there's a good chance
So
both of them.
production, how's he looking that way? He's looking production more, type I should say, and that's just workability. Says
They're both at decent, well, he's more production than type.
Yeah.
Max Appeal's probably more of a balance, isn't he,
Yeah.
Tony? So, it was a late rush. Max Appeal was looking like not making the data, or getting enough daughters for April, or scraped him over the line sort of thing. So, we don't have any pictures on Max Appeals yet.
And how do you know if he's any bloody good?
Well, I can't tell. They'll be coming,
Alright.
but most likely we'll graduate to two of them, and possibly one Holstein,
He's a Holstein.
as said,
No.
Donato,
I was at home, I think it's better.
possibly. That's not a guarantee though.
All right, speaking of photos, and I end here. Here's a bull with 67 pounds of protein, 73 pounds of fat. The number one bull in the world. His mother has the most famous photo I know of that people throw darts at. She was, you know, on the other side of that wall is a 600 cow dairy where she lived at the time, and they were going to sell her, so they thought they ought to have a picture of her for the catalog, and they pulled her out of the pen, and there she was. She sold a Holstein guy who never milked her, just dried her out, flushed her, and put 27 sons in the eye. And there she is for posterity.
Will Jimmy be there this afternoon?
No, he's an apology.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
But you did go and look at the cow before you bought the bulls, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We did. In fact, we still go look at it. I bought a Jersey heifer with a cousin of mine a while back. They have a Holstein stud, and we just thought we'd have a little fun with the Jersey, and we flushed her, and there's 4 or 5 studs with like a calf, and one of them, they're dealing through my cousin, and she said she told the sire analyst from another stud, well, we're not sure we're going to milk her when she calves because, you know, we don't have any jerseys, no herd mates, and probably send her to my brother's who has some jerseys, and he says, well, that doesn't matter. She says, what do you mean it doesn't matter? I don't care if she ever calves. Really? You want a bull? Yeah, we want a bull. As long as his genomics are high enough, then you don't care if she ever calves. Not really.
It's all numbers.
Okay?
But as the end of that, Larry, ABS has stood for reliability forever, and if reliability is the dam milking and turning out good, it's another.
Yeah, leading Phil Columbus was the best thing that ever happened to ABS. Because ABS became about reliability after that.
What was that?
Huh?
Don't say.
Lead Phil Columbus. You remember Lead Phil Columbus?
No.
Everybody in this room?
No, you fills in. You fills in.
Well, about 30 years ago, 25 to 30 years ago, ABS had Valiant, and on the tail of, and they had this bull called Lead Phil Columbus, who was a breeder bull. And he had it all. In fact, the back of the Holstein World used to be the ABS ad, and a big spread on Lead Phil Columbus the same month the second crop proof came out. And he had one of the biggest drops ever. And they were selling semen for a lot of money for 3 years until he got his second crop proof. And he just went about a third, just off the charts completely. And big black eye for ABS. I mean, the rest of us had a lot of fun with it. You can't trust ABS, ABS went on a mission at that point. No more of that stuff. That's when they created Rock Solid and all that business. 100 daughters, 60 hers. To know that they know that they know. That's who they became because they got blitzed.
Lessons learned.
It was. Best thing ever happened to them.
That's the best thing about our catalogue. It's full of 100 daughters and 60 herds minimum.
Well, you have to be a bit careful because for vermin, most bulls are never going to get those numbers.
True.
Yeah.
True. Doesn't seem like Jersey's ain't quite as many to be reliable.
Well, it's just never going to happen until the population are doing it. That's just reality.
Yeah.
People realise that they're not stupid, they know it could be a bit of move, but that's just reality. It's just
Well, and there's been less scandals in the Jersey breed.
just take a minute to get out there, brand on this.
So Tony, any other points that we should cover? what time do we need to be on the road to get to Castles?
12.
12 we need to be on the road. Doesn't it start at 12?
11.
5 minutes in on the road in 5 minutes.
So any points we're missing?
You know, there's one thing I forgot to
35.
mention.
So everyone's got no problems then going out selling any of our Jersey Bull teams?
Didn't have any before, so it was a problem. Never
Well, our
had
sales doesn't reflect that. That's a problem.
Our second biggest selling bull is multiple.
The amount of semen just in South Australia, our percentage of it's terrible.
Yeah, we had a bull come up where it sat and it suited the marketplace. It was there at the time. We got a, the thing at the end of the day, the customer wants to use that bull, Van Halen, which you're talking about. Go, no, I'm not going to sell it to you guys or something else. We're better off getting something than nothing for it. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to be realistic.
We haven't concentrated enough on the bulls
Yeah.
in the US. That's where
Sell them
the-
legal instead.
Well, probably got reason to now.
Tony,
Yeah.
Tony, the customer, let's not listen to the customer. The customer said he wanted to use Van Halen. And I say, he's legal. And we do put the bull in front of him, but he wants to use Van Halen. I go, I really reckon you should use legal. Oh, I'll get back to you. And you come out and the boys were off someone else. So we were off getting something about 25% than nothing. That's listening to the customer.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, but they don't use one bull.
No, don't use one bull.
So you're selling Valhalla.
Yeah, but no.
You need to be selling them our bulls as
We do.
well.
The only bull we've probably stuck in for most major only our third company's been
Van
Halen.
Halen,
Nothing
yeah.
else is. We would sell bugger all. We'd sell no GA. We'd sell no CMX. We'd sell no Average. I don't sell the Average. I don't sell the other companies.
What heifer got bred a lot, the Great Van Halen?
The
They're probably not.
fly up our heifer.
Yeah.
She got bred a lot?
Was he rebel?
I
Well, I did.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Who gave them that idea?
I know where you're going now. Not even answering that.
But your fault, Tim Bob.
No.
Larry,
No, it's my fault.
Larry, what bulls from the States are we going to run up against? What are our competitors? What bulls are they?
Look, what's all work
Going strong over there.
With that GA, that's going well.
Okay, there's a bull called Plus,
Yep, yes.
that's getting some play. And,
Yes.
and we've run a few of those. He's one of the better bulls that we don't have. So, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, and I'll pull up a slide. Hogs are milking over 100 of these sired by conventional semen and 100 of them sired by sorted semen, and we couldn't tell the difference.
You said his semen wasn't probably as good. How can you sex a bull whose semen quality isn't?
That doesn't mean he won't sort.
A lot of the greatest semen fertility sex bulls are not great conventional.
Yeah, so his real data there was
He's
on
Conventional. That's conventional.
So do we have a real world data on sorted?
We will have,
We do.
well, we might have on him right now.
We do.
But
He's
we might
three.
be enough.
He's
Yeah.
3 and he's 2 on conventional.
He was 2 on conventional there, yeah. So
And
that's,
he's 3 on
Yep.
sorted.
Um,
So if you get that Excel file you get, down the bottom, Holstein, Jersey, sorted.
now,
What's Plus Boy? See, what's his bigger?
I actually know, but that's,
Itola bold.
yeah, he's an Itola.
Oh, yes, yes, that's right.
Out of a bold.
Is that
Yes.
Average Gems are looking pretty hard. There's a couple of flush gems.
Alright, I'm looking for one of these that says,
Jake's still supporting a bit of Galaxy in that around the place, isn't he? That's just old genetics from the States, or is he still current in the US catalogue?
Yeah, native size cows, they're pretty far. Even the others aren't as good as what they should be. They're really selling as another bull. I've seen a few on milk. They're not as good as the others what they predicted, but big ones.
Well, just Chop Sally said he was probably the best bull he had from that group last year.